I wanted to watch Kingdom for a long time, but for one reason or another, I didn't. But now that I have, I'm really happy that I did. The story is incredible. I'm really impressed with how it is structured and told. I'm sure you have heard the term battle manga, where the main thing is fights and battles, but Kingdom takes that to another level. The story revolves around war, actual war, and not conflicts or one-on-one fights here and there. So if that is not your thing, then it's likely that you will not like this story. The goal of the main character is to be a great general and lead armies. So he did train since he was a kid to achieve that goal. The first couple of episodes, the story is focused on Shin and establishing the world. After that, the snowball starts to roll, and very soon it becomes an avalanche. I was so surprised how fast things are moving in the story, and how gigantic they are. Several episodes in, and we get this gigantic war between two nations, and there were a lot of important characters participating in it. The story does not make you wait. It does reward the audience constantly. The writer does not take shortcuts or just tease the audience or mess around. Everything is on point. So on point that it is overwhelming. There are times when you think that the story is about to end because so much is happening or everything is revealed. But then you watch the next episode, and then you realize that those were just small parts of the story, and there are so many great things ahead. And this did happen a couple of times. Based on that, you might think that there are a couple of hundreds episodes of Kingdom. But the weird thing is that no, as of right now, there are only 81 episodes out. It is stunning what the writer was able to accomplish in such a short period of time. Take for example the current arc that the anime is on. This story is about the 7 kingdoms, and in the current arc, 6 kingdoms are involved. This is insane. When it comes to the battles, it is really impressive how technical and tactical they are, and the writer has incorporated them into the story seamlessly. The story doesn't take a break, because now we are dealing with action, but both are intertwined and move forward together. The way he has found the balance between those two is amazing. Nothing gets sacrificed for another. It is not just we are fighting now this section of the army, then the next, and so on. It is not generic action, but everything means something. You are invested, you care, and that's why the outcome feels so rewarding and making sense. The strategies that the generals use in these battles are incredible. The composition of the armies plays a huge role in these battles when they are facing each other. The units have their own advantages and disadvantages, but sometimes that changes depending on who the enemy is. A strong cavalry unit is great, but not that much effective if they are up against a heavily armored pike unit. On the other hand, there isn't much use if the heavily armored pike unit is up against a mounted archer unit. Just for fun, let's just say a Mongolian mounted archer unit. Yeah, the pike unit has tickets to their own horror movie. So the fact that things like these come into play in the story, it makes the story incredible. I wish I could go even more into details, but then the video will not be a couple of minutes long, but days. And on top of all that awesomeness, you have the legendary characters. In the story there are no superpowers, but there are times when the legendary characters do surpass human abilities. But that is not done without a reason, and it doesn't take anything from the battles. It just adds more layers to the story. And that is accomplished by integrating into the story in a masterful way, and thus the story is more interesting and intriguing. There are some setups about some mysterious powers existing in this world, but the way they are done are so on point that they don't seem as supernatural even though they are. The writer deserves a lot of praise. I wonder how these storylines will be explored, how deep the writer will go, and how they will affect the story. One of the best things about this story is that the legends of the story that are introduced so far, they are getting the spotlight, and they are treated wonderfully. They affect the story tremendously. Their role in the story is not to be like a statue, just be there and look cool and do nothing. No one affects the story more than them. They are truly deserving of the title legends. Speaking of legends, let's talk about someone who isn't a legend. Shin, the main character. But he's on his way to becoming one. Shin is a very interesting character, and his development is incredible in more ways than one. The writer did a great job. One problem that I have with some writers is when they want to elevate the main character, they use other characters or even the story as a stepping stone, which is so wrong. You don't sacrifice the characters or the story for the main character. Because guess what? The main character is part of the story. If you destroy the story, you also destroy the main character, and other characters as well. As I said earlier, his development is impressive. The way he has been handled is amazing. Nothing was given to him, just because he's the main character. Everything is earned. In fact, in some cases, his path was the hardest out of everyone. He did need to do more than some people in order to achieve the same things. Things like those make him a better character. And when he achieves something great, it doesn't seem hollow because of all that work that he did to get there. One of the other things that is great about Shin is that he never makes the same mistake twice. He learns every time and moves forward, which is great. There's nothing more annoying when the main character falls for the same problem all the time, or he is oblivious to everything around him, even when he is in the center of everything. In the next arc, everything is forgotten, and the main character is like, I don't know anything, I don't understand anything. What are those? I cannot understand words, how you use them. Well, you're not going to get any of that in Kingdom. Maybe why this main character is handled so much better than other popular manga could be because Kingdom is in seinen category instead of shonen, where most of the popular mangas are. Seinen is a more adult category, while shonen the primary target is kids. If some of you are asking what is the difference between seinen and shonen or other categories, and not just in manga but in general for storytelling, well, there isn't one. These categories are not made by writers, but by companies who sell these stories, by the marketing teams. Not everyone is a story expert, so they need things like that to help them to decide what should they watch. And also, since the younger audiences are usually the most important audience, that's due to them having more free time, so they will watch more and interact more. And they are highly more likely to tell their friends about the story, and also they are more likely to buy the merchandise. In terms of how these categories affect the story, they don't. It's just based on the category the story is in, the writer is forced to use certain cliches or generic stuff. For example, it is not a coincidence that the main character of a shonen manga eats like he is starving every time. That is done in order for the parents to say to their kids, look how this character is eating, you should eat as well. Since usually kids don't want to eat or they are picky eaters. So if you don't like scenes like those, well, now you know who to blame. Stories that have many characters and rely on events to progress the story usually tend not to have epic moments or epic scenes, because the story cannot focus on one thing entirely. But even though Kingdom is one of those stories, the writer still does manage to create epic scenes, which is really impressive. One of the scenes that I did watch countless times, and I will continue to watch it, is when General Bayo did charge the 5 armies. This is one of the most hilarious moments in anime and manga for me. The tension was killing me in this scene. They were struggling in one-on-one battle with another country, and now they are being attacked by 5 countries. The advantage was so big that they were more concerned about how history will remember this battle instead of winning it, because it seems like a done deal. And then you have this madman who thinks it's a good idea to charge his massive army. The hunter becomes the hunted. That is it for part 1, part 2 will be posted soon. Thanks for watching and see you in the next video.